All right. Welcome to Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio, shortwave, electronics. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We've got a lot of things to talk about. If you're out there listening on world famous WBCQ shortwave station on 7490, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com, tom@w5kub.com. Also, I want to invite you, if you're out there listening, you can also tune into our show. We have our show is actually a video show. We like to think we're all great big TV stars, but of course we're not there yet. We're just on the internet. But hey, you can join our video show on, just go to w5kub.com, w5kub.com, and click on a little yellow button that says, chat room and video, and you will be able to join in on our video show. That's Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So if you would, hey, please hit that subscribe button down here. It helps us a whole lot. It's down here in the bottom right corner. Subscribe. Did I mess something up here? Let's see. Subscribe. Yeah, I'm trying to help you out there where that subscribe is. And also realize it helps to promote our show if you'll click the like button. If everybody out there would click the like button, hey, that'd be great. And then, hey, at the end of the show tonight, if you didn't like it, you can unclick it if you want to. But go ahead and click that like button and click the notify button, because we do come on sometimes in between the weekly shows. In fact, coming up in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a number of unscheduled or semi-scheduled shows that are coming up. We're going to be doing a Dayton hamfest on Saturday the 18th. We're going to be doing probably some live stuff on the 17th. On the 16th, Glenn is driving up. I think we may even stream his drive up. We used to stream our drive on that 500-mile trip, and we had a lot of people tune in. It was a lot of fun. And Glenn's thinking about streaming his drive up. So, hey, on the 16th, we might even see Glenn driving up as we do some testing there. So, hey, so join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group has over 14,000 hams in it, and we'll approve you immediately. Just in the search bar on Facebook, just type in W5KUB, and it'll take you right to our ham radio, or actually it takes you to Amateur Radio Roundtable /ham radio /W5KUB. All those things will get you to the room there. So please join us there. If you're out there listening again, we're on just about every podcast from iTunes, iNet Radio, Google Play, Spreaker, Radio Public, Tumblr. We're everywhere out there. You can download, or you can just stream and listen to our show's audio. Again, if you're out there and you are listening to us on one of the audio podcasts, shoot us an email. We'd like to know that we got people out there listening. We've had probably about 70,000 downloads so far, so a lot of people are downloading it weekly. But let us know out there, your circumstance. Are you driving across the country? Are you listening during work? Are you a doctor? Are you listening to it through earbuds while you're doing surgery? Just let us know how you're listening to the show there. And also, again, WBCQ is our shortwave station up in Monticello, Maine here on 7490, and that's their antenna that they got up there. That's North America's largest rotatable shortwave antenna. So I'm back, and let's see. Brett is going to be a little late. He is doing some type talk, or he's in some meeting with the city council or something, or maybe he's at court. I have no idea what he's doing, but he said he's going to be a little bit late, and he might not be in here till about maybe 8:30 or so. Hey, tonight, man. Well, we got a lot of different things tonight. I want to talk to you. I'm thinking about getting on 6 meters and playing with some 6 meter stuff. I'd like to be able to connect up with some of my new friends down in Corinth, Mississippi. It's about 90 miles away. And, they've got several repeaters down here. They've got a 6 meter repeater down here. I'm thinking, I ought to try 6 meters out. I think I could work it down here. So I pulled an old J-pole out of the garage, wiped the dust off of it. It's a copper built J-pole. I'm going to show that to you tonight. We're going to also play with the spectrum analyzer, and we're going to compare 100 feet of RG8X tonight, specs to what's in reality there. We're going to talk about a hamventure coming up. Well, we got several things with hamventure coming up. I've got a couple of things to put on Roundtable hamfest tonight. That's coming up. Field day is coming up. Gee, man. We got several news stories here I want to talk about. That's going to be interesting. Oh, also, we just had Cinco de Mayo. I'm going to tell y'all the real story about Cinco de Mayo a little while. And QRZ.com turns 30 this year. And there's more on that coming up here. Hey, Glenn, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, we're doing good. We're getting ready for Dayton. I mean, it's like, a little over a week away. And starting to preload the car, get organized, get squared away, and ready for the trip. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this year, which means it's probably going to rain all 3 days, but that is what it is.
Well, maybe not,
We've had some great weather the past couple of years.
Hey, I've been 40 years and have decided just to stop going up here. We are going to webcast it, though. But, it'd be nice to walk around up here and see stuff. I'd love to do that. I'm trying to go to a lot of the smaller hamfests that are close enough here that, within a few hours drive. And, they're small, but they're still fun,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Corinth was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one.
All right, so Mark P., he's our guy up at Xenia. He says Saturday will be dry.
Perfect. That's the day of my Arduino for him.
Now, I don't know if he means it will be dry under his tarp or if it's just going to be dry, but we are going to have...
in the forum room, so it'll be dry in there.
We are going to have... Mark's going to have the W5KB Skycam there. And if it's raining, he's probably going to have something over the camera. It's going to look pretty distorted, but we're going to see what it's like there with the Skycam. So we'll talk more about that in a little while there. Man, so much happening here. So much.
Yeah. Well, like we were talking earlier, one of the things I'm hoping to start, prepping and stuff and see is if I can mount the cell phone camera in the car on a stable mount so y'all can ride up with me on Thursday.
Yeah. Now, have you got some way to plug that into like a charger in the car?
Oh yeah, plenty of power.
Yeah, that way it won't. Cause it would run down. Streaming, it'd run down after a number of hours just driving down the road. So that's cool.
It's all set to stream.
Yeah.
So it should be an interesting thing. If I can get a good stable mount.
Well, find you something, lay up on a dash and just prop that sucker up,
Yeah.
Hey, take you a piece of duct tape, man. Duct tape on the back of the phone and duct tape it at the top of the windshield and let it just kind of hang,
Yeah, actually, I'll just stick it outside and tape it to
that'd be kind of cool, Yeah. Well, hey,
But,
I'm looking forward to that. We haven't done any live streaming of any of our drives in a number of years, and that was always a lot of fun. We had a lot of people.
I enjoyed watching it myself. I mean, because you were going up like on Wednesday, and I'd be going up Thursday, so it was always fun to watch your ride.
We had a lot of people when we would do that, and it'd be a 10-hour drive, and boy, people would stay with us all day watching, man. And, they'd be in the chat room. It's a little hard to work the chat room while you're driving, so But I tell you what, though, when you drive up, the way we'll stream, we're going to use the new app. I'll be able to hear you talk, and I'll be able to talk back to you.
Right.
And if somebody's in the chat room, and they say something, I'll be able to relay that to you as you're driving, okay? But just be aware of burps and other noises that, you might make while you're driving and streaming, So you got to be careful with that. And especially if you have someone else in the car, it's real easy to say something that you don't want going out over the broadcast.
As it stands right now, it's just going to be me making the trip. So it's all on me. Any sounds you hear, that's on me.
All right. Hey, I'm excited for you. I want to watch the drive. I want to.
Yeah, it's your turn to sit back and watch.
I want to watch it, man. Hey, put that duct tape on there and hang that phone. Hang it up.
What I'm thinking of, I've got a tripod with extendable legs, and I'm gonna put it in the passenger seat and set it up.
I don't know how well it's going to work.
Well, I'm gonna seat belt it and tape it into place so it's a stable mount.
Okay, well that might work all right.
I'll come up with something. Have no fear.
But hey, just in case, carry a roll of duct tape with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clifton says don't eat lunch at Taco Bell. All right.
I don't know. Normally I get lunch at like the first or second Kentucky exit. Usually it's McDonald's or Burger King or something like that. So yeah, it's not going to be Taco Bell. Taco Bell's too messy when you're driving alone.
Yeah, I guess it
in more ways than one.
Could be. Yeah. Oh, okay. We're getting new people in the chat room tonight. Let's see. I was watching people as they were logging in here. I see Don's in here. Papa Doc's in here. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just saying tornadoes are just west of Dayton tonight, hoping it doesn't affect Xenia.
Oh man, yeah. Well, there's usually always one around Dayton this time of year for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look what happened to Oklahoma yesterday, and we're supposed to get some nastiness tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I was just looking at some people here. We got Clifton in here. We've got John, Eldon. Hey guys, we gave away the Hamvention tickets. They went fast. People claimed the tickets fast, man. It must have been that was easy to give away the Hamvention tickets. We've had prizes before. Hambot has had $450 prizes that we'd have to go through 5 or 6 people before we'd get somebody to claim the prize. But the Hamvention tickets, man, they went fast, man. We didn't have any problem with those.
Well, see, I would have gone after them, but because I'm doing a forum, I get a free ticket, so I don't have to worry about that.
Hey, one of the tickets I sent off, I told the guy it was a winning ticket because I did go ahead and put my special fold on it. And I put it on there, and he thanked me for it. And he says, Tom, I'm going to put your name. So, Glenn, you may have some competition up there.
Well,
he said, I'm going to put your name on the ticket because it was your ticket. And I said, no, man. I said, just put your name on it. Put your name on it, and if you win, I'll just know that, it was my ticket that won it for you. But, I mean, hey, they may pull my name out, man, and I may beat you again. One ticket to one ticket,
I don't know. You've got Joe Eisenberg.
No.
There, so,
Joe's got nothing on us. Joe's got nothing on us here.
Yeah, I don't know. He cleaned up in Orlando.
Yeah. All right. Well, Brett will be in here in a little while. Let's see.
Enzo, Rick, you're talking about a hamfest in July. Where's that one? Because I'm not aware of any hamfest in July that I'll be going to now.
There's going to be a Nashville hamfest in July.
Ah, okay.
I don't know if that's the one he's talking about or not, but I'm going to try to go to that one.
Oh, I will too, yes.
I mean, it's not too far to go,
Right.
And, hey, there's other things to do there, man. You can go to Grand Ole Opry, you can go, eat, you can see the sights, so we're going to try to go to that, I think.
Well, speaking of Hamfest, I just got news this morning that at the Huntsville Hamfest in August, I'll be doing an Arduino forum there as well. And Huntsville's always one of my favorite Hamfests.
Yep. Oh man, yeah, it is. It's our favorite too, for sure.
Yeah, it's nice trip. I stay at the Embassy Suites, relax, and it's just a fun weekend all around. And usually I stop at the Space and Rocket Center on the day before and do the tourist thing there.
Well, if you've never been to that, you ought to stop and spend the day out there, devote at least a half a day or more to
Absolutely.
it. Now, I will tell you this, it's a little expensive if you hit all the things in there.
Yeah, but let me tell you, it is just, if you're a, space age geek like I was, I grew up with the space race and all of that. And, to see all of that there, it's like, almost reliving my childhood.
Yep, it is.
So, yeah, I enjoy that.
All right. Well, before we get into some of the hands-on stuff, I'm going to talk a few minutes about just some of the, I guess, some of the news things that are happening on ham radio and, this past week or so. So, hey, Glenn, last week was Cinco de Mayo, man. Cinco de Mayo, and that's a very famous day. And
Yeah, that was just Sunday.
yeah, and a lot of people don't know why it's famous. I mean, everybody has a 4th of May, but they don't know why. Why do we have Cinco de Mayo? And I did a lot of research, and in my job, I got to go down to Mexico a lot over 30 years. Had a lot of people down here that worked for me and took me out and showed me the sights, and I learned the culture and stuff like that. So I'm gonna tell you guys the true story of Cinco de Mayo. Some of you may know it, some of you may not, but at least after I tell you, if you didn't know it, now you will, and
you will.
You'll have that knowledge now that you can share with other people. But Cinco de Mayo goes back, I think it goes back to the early 1500s, and let's see. David said he puts mayo on sandwiches. Yeah. Anyway, so I think back in the early 1500s is when it started, and actually it's when the name Cinco de Mayo became so popular, and it's been like it ever since then. Mexico, they've got all this different kinds of food, tacos and all different things, and different condiments and stuff that go on it. But one of the main ones that they were using back then was mayonnaise. And they couldn't figure out the formula for mayonnaise, and so they were buying their mayonnaise from Italy. And twice a year, a ship from Italy would come to Mexico and bring a complete ship full of mayonnaise. Well, one day back early 1500s, that ship, and you can imagine if you only get it twice a year, and if you don't get it once, the trouble that's going to cause you. I mean, back then, we couldn't get across the ocean in a day or two, or there were no flights or nothing like that.
It took a while.
It took a while.
Yeah, they didn't have FedEx and whatnot.
Yeah. So what happened was, I think it was the July shipment from Italy that was coming over to Mexico. They had a whole shipload of mayonnaise, and they were bringing it over, and oh man, it was terrible. The ship sunk, and it sunk in one of the deepest. Well, it don't matter how deep it was, they couldn't recover it. So it sunk out there, and man, when the word finally hit Mexico, everybody, the only words you could hear for days was Cinco de Mayo, Cinco de Mayo, Cinco de Mayo. So I don't know, man. It took years for them to get over the sinking of the.
Well, you can only have
ship.
So much of that guacamole stuff.
Yeah.
You got to have the mayo.
All right. So that was your story about Cinco de Mayo. You guys are free to share that. If you look that up, I'm sure you can find it on maybe the w5kub.com website, which makes it legit.
Absolutely.
Hey, just some news stories here, man. Amateur Radio saves family in Death Valley. The family was, driving around out there, and they got stuck. Man, I didn't know they got stuck in the mud. I didn't know
if it rains and all that sand, yeah, you're gonna get stuck.
I didn't know, man. I didn't know they had mud and rain in Death Valley, man. I thought, it's all dust and you're coughing, you can't, you gotta have water. Anyway, they got stuck out there in the mud, and it was a pretty dangerous area. They were out a good ways. They were out of cell phone coverage, and he had 10 meters in the car, and he made a call on 10 meters. And a guy up in Ohio answered him, and he picked up the distress call and the call sign, and the signal started fading, but he was able to notify some other hams there locally to start listening for him out there. So they posted that, and they actually talked to him, found him, and I think the park rangers were able to rescue him within a couple hours. So ham radio saved the day on that one. All right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Hey, I mentioned last week the Pennsylvania State Senate is about to vote on a measure that would prohibit motorist use of handheld communications devices, especially cell phones, but it includes microphones. Anyway, it passed. It passed in the House of Representatives. And now it's going to go to the State Assembly. And then after that, it goes to the governor. Now, the bill does have some exemptions in it. Handhelds use is permitted by emergency responders. Emergency responders. Now, amateur radio was also included in the first draft of this bill before it was passed by the Senate, by the House, and they took ham radio out. So ham radio, amateur radio, is not in the one that they're voting on right now. It does say emergency responders, so boy, I don't know what that's going to mean. That's a real gray area, you know.
Yeah, are they, maybe they can amend it. Maybe that include RACES or some of the other amateur radio emergency groups, and you just join those groups and get yourself covered.
Well, I don't know, but
or somebody gets smart.
The fact that amateur radio was in there in the beginning and he took it out is a little concerning,
Well, that'd be just a state you're not going to find me in.
Yeah, I don't think I'll drive through Pennsylvania the next month or two anyway.
No, not anytime
tell you
soon.
the truth. Yeah. All right. Everybody probably has heard the news now about Silent Key, Dick Ross, K2MGA. Dick Ross was a publisher of CQ magazine. He became publisher of CQ magazine in 1979 after being its editor in the 1960s. He died April 27th. So, CQ's been going through some tough times right now financially. After the pandemic, they had a lot of trouble trying to keep their printed issue going out there. And each week I'd talk with Rich. Each week they had things in the works with other people to try to get the funding and the backing, to continue publishing the CQ magazine. Now, I haven't got an update from Rich since we've got this notice about Dick Ross dying. But now with Dick Ross dying, I don't know if that even complicates things even more in trying to save CQ magazine. I just don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, Dick was president of CQ Communications. He published a number of magazines, including Popular Communications and CQ VHF, CQ Contest, World Radio Online, Communications Quarterly. He had a magazine called, that was Communications Quarterly CB Radio is what it was. Modern Electronics Microcomputer Journal, Music for Computer Education. So, he was heavily involved in it. So, well, I guess we just have to wait and see what happens now with CQ, whether they're going to recover or not.
Yeah, that was always one of my favorites. They had some good stuff in CQ.
Yeah. Hey, here's one, not ham related much, but the FCC is working to they're proposing $850,000 in fines, charging 6 people with piracy. They're taking action against more radio stations engaged in unlicensed operation. And 6 broadcast radio stations in Massachusetts have been charged with piracy by the FCC, which is proposing to levy a fine of $850,000 against them.
It's pretty steep.
Yeah, they were said to be unlicensed. They were also identified as a part of a sweep by enforcement agents in the Boston metropolitan area. The agents from New York and Boston field offices conducted the investigations under the Pirate Act, which gives the FCC increased ability to act against pirate broadcasters by authorizing fines as much as $100,000 per violation or up to $2 million. Of course, the FCC cannot, they can't charge anybody in court. That's not their. They just find the infraction, and they have to give it to the Justice Department. The
Right.
Justice Department is responsible for the enforcement and collection of the fines. I didn't know this. I thought this went way back, but the Pirate Act, it became law in 2020. That's only 4 years ago.
I was unaware of it.
Yeah. Of course, they've been after people much longer, before that.
Right.
But Pirate Act is an acronym for Preventing Illegal Radio Abuse Through Enforcement.
Very cool.
So now you know what the Pirate Act is out there, guys. Could CQ go online only? I guess they could, and that might be an option. Of course, I'm not part of the discussions or suggestions, but that could be. That could be an option.
Maybe we'll get some answers, out of Dayton.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. Hey,
So
did you
I'll
know?
poke around and
did
see what
you
I can find out.
Well, let's see. Boy, one of our viewers has sent me a text. Let me see what he says here. This better be important. I'm interrupting the show. Oh, getting closer. Getting close. I'll show you what just came in. Show you guys what just came in, if I can.
The weather.
This is up in Xenia. You can see Xenia on the map right there. Whoop.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. That's what's going to hit us in the morning.
Oh boy. Are we going to get something like that tomorrow?
Tomorrow night, they're saying we're going to have the potential for large hail.
Is that right?
Minimal tornado risk, but heavy rain, high winds, and a very big risk for large hail tomorrow night.
Well, I guess it's going to just develop, because if you look at the radar I've got right now for Memphis.
Oh yeah, it's clear for right now.
Man, it is not a cloud in the sky, man. Look at this.
Well, according to the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock weather, we're going to have storms developing overnight, and then tomorrow night's the big risk. So probably about midnight is when we're going to have a little bit of thunderstorm roll through here, but tomorrow night's when they're saying it's going to be heavy for us here.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, we'll batten down the hatches, I guess, and just we went through one last night. Actually, came through.
Yeah, I ended up getting all the cats on the bed because they don't like the thunder.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they all came up on the bed wanting me to protect them at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, hey, did you know this past week, man, we had a powerful solar flare that left the Earth without radio communications for 30 minutes. But that was mostly in the Pacific area. I guess it depends on which way the Earth is setting when that flare hits, I mean,
Yeah.
probably the backside it doesn't do as much, or I don't know. But it says here on
There
May
was a
1st,
science fiction
extreme.
story about that
Yeah,
years ago.
May 1st, extreme powerful solar flare occurred on the sun, large-scale radio blackout throughout the Pacific. The flare peaked at 7:46 p.m., lasted 12 minutes. SpaceWeatherLive.com said it had a power of M9.53. I have no idea what that means, but that's what
I don't
it was.
either. I need to learn that stuff.
That is
but
that's slightly less than the X class. I don't know what that means either. Of course, NOAA's, not NOAA's, but NASA's GOES 16 satellite was the one that measured it.
Maybe we need to do a whole show and dedicate it to that space weather stuff.
Yeah, yeah. The flare resulted in a loss of radio signal below 20 megahertz within 30 minutes after the flare. So I guess it took 30 minutes for it to get here.
Well, yeah, it takes a while to
So
travel.
I guess if the sun explodes, we don't know that for 30 minutes.
Well, if the sun explodes, we'll know it 8 minutes later from the light. But yeah, the other rays are a little bit slower.
Are you sure they're not faster?
No, they'd be slower.
I guess so.
Light from the sun gets here in 8 minutes. And
Is that right? Is that right?
But if you're seeing those other solar flares and stuff take 30 minutes, then they're definitely slower than the speed of light.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. It said here the event affected sailors and amateur radio operators throughout the Pacific.
Yeah, that would have taken 20 out.
Yep. Hey guys, here's something coming up, man. This is exciting. If you ought to try this once. The next week is on May the 11th. I guess that's next week. Yeah, that's next week. May the 11th is the annual Armed Forces Day crossband test. So just do a Google search for Armed Forces Day crossband test, and you'll find this. But the Department of Defense is going to host this year's Armed Forces Day crossband test. It's going to be May the 11th. Mark your calendar, put your little sticker on your radio, May the 11th. And the annual event is open to all licensed amateur radio operators and will not impact any public or private communications. They've been doing this now for 50 years. The military and amateur stations have taken part in the event. And it's an interoperability exercise between hobbyist and government radio stations. So if you do a Google and you pull this up, you'll see a chart of all the locations in the military that are going to be transmitting. It will give you the time frames that they're going to be transmitting. And if you'll listen on that frequency, now that frequency will be outside of the ham band, but listen to that frequency and you will hear them. And they will say, we are listening on, and they're going to be listening in the ham band. And they're going to give you a frequency in the ham band. You call them on your frequency in the ham band, but you listen to them on the military frequency and make a contact. And I've never really ordered a certificate or anything, but certificates are available. They're pretty nice certificates there. So military stations are going to select, they're going to be transmitting on selected military frequencies, and they will announce the amateur radio frequencies. But that is cool, man. You ought to try that.
Yeah, I did that. I guess it's like about 10 years ago now. I did that here in Memphis and did the day with that, and that's a lot of fun. It really is. Plus, like you say, you can get a really nice certificate for it. So yeah, it's a cool thing to do.
Now, all the frequencies are going to be on upper sideband, so you don't have to worry. All of them are upper sideband, unless otherwise noted. I think they are going to be on RTTY and maybe a couple other things. I don't know if they're on CW or not, but they will tell you. If you look them up, you'll see the website, and they'll tell you. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, no new news on MFJ closing down their Starkville operation, but if you guys have ever been to MFJ in Starkville, you know that's their main center where they have MFJ and Ameritron, High Gain, Cushcraft, Vectronics, and Mirage. I think I named them all. Did I miss one?
Hustler.
Do they have Hustler?
Pretty sure they got Hustler.
I didn't know that. Okay. So anyway, they're closing that down. They will not be building any more there. All those people basically are out there. On the 17th, that's 10 days from now, they all don't have a job. And they're closing it down. They're going to try to somehow sell what stock they have. They did say in the announcement that they're going to try to continue selling. Now, I don't know how this works, but They're going to continue selling their import radios, import antennas, and import power supplies, things like that that are being imported that aren't being made in Mississippi. So those things might be available. Now, I talked to Martin last week. He really does not know exactly what is going to happen. He just knows he's ready to close it down. Nobody's been willing to just outright buy, all the MFJ companies. Martin's 80 years old, and he wants to spend some time with his family, and he wants some time to do some hamming. And that's kind of the reason also that I have cut back on live streaming like Dayton, going up there and live streaming Dayton or Huntsville and so forth. So when you get old, guys, you want to enjoy life for a little while. So anyway, that's what Martin's wanting to do. And so they could continue selling their wide selection of imported products, portable mobile antennas, power supplies, clocks, antenna switches. So this closure impacts all their other sub-brands, the other sub-companies, the Ameritron, High-Gain, Cushcraft, Mirage,
Well, they were building all of
Electronics.
that stuff there in Starkville. So
Yeah, they were building it
being
there.
built
Now,
in Starkville is gone.
MFJ probably is one of the largest manufacturers of manual antenna tuners.
Yes.
Not many people make the manual antenna tuners, and they do that. So that's going to put a real hole in ham radio.
Well, my thing is, just the Cushcraft beams. I mean,
Yeah.
and the high gain rotators. Most of us, that's what we got.
Yeah.
And
So
now we're going to have to find another source for these.
I don't, there's probably not a lot more out there if you want to buy a tri-band beam or something. I don't know. There's some HF antennas
There are
out
some.
Yeah.
Mine's a Mosley.
there. Yeah. I
I've
had
got some Mosley stuff, and my rotator is a Yaesu G 800.
Yeah.
But there's not the high gain, the tail twisters, the ham M. Those are going to go away, and that's a big deal.
Well, so they're really the world's primary source for manual antenna tuners. I think that's going to kind of be lost. A lot of people are buying auto tuners now. There's a lot of different auto tuners hitting eBay out there. So.
And his antenna analyzer that
Yep.
I so dearly love.
I think they were the first ones to actually come out with a design and started
I
selling
believe
the
so.
antenna.
And
The antenna
I
analyzer.
love that thing.
Yeah,
I mean, that
yeah.
is, yes, there's others, but I just love that one.
Yeah. Probably, in my mind, one of the best product line he's got is the Ameritron amplifier.
Absolutely, yes.
Just about everybody buys that Ameritron, and those aren't going to be made anymore. If there can't be some kind of deal that comes up, maybe somebody, I don't know, why don't a Gigaparts or a DX Engineering, buy Ameritron? I mean,
I think the big part is the manufacturing, the metal stamping and cutting and stuff that he has got there in Starkville. A lot of these companies don't do their own manufacturing.
Well, that's true, and we did a tour several times down there, and they do have their own metal shop. They get sheet metal in, they bend it, they make their own boxes.
Silk screening,
they silk screen
everything.
it. They silk screen all the writing on there.
Well,
They
and the
punch
boards,
it, and they punch it. So that would have to almost go along with it for sure.
Yeah, and they wave solder all their own boards and wind their own coils and
Oh,
caps. So that might be too much for another, a company, like DX Engineering, Gigaparts, or whatever, because that would require them to start up their own manufacturing, and most companies would rather just ship that overseas and have it come back from China.
I tell you,
I know. I think it's
it was just about 2 or 3 years ago. I went down here. Their in the metal shop. I think the equipment that punches and bends that stuff, it went bad. They had to buy a new one. They had to buy a new one. It almost wouldn't go in the building, and I think that thing cost $500,000.
Yeah.
It was something, man. So listen, hey, he's got a pick and place machine down there that you put the little surface mount reels in, and this sucker will pick the parts and put them on the board for it. Glenn, why don't you get that? We'll put that in your house, and I can build trackers on it, man.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. You know, MFJ in Starkville was a one-stop manufacturing shop for a large percentage of his product line. And let's face it, nobody, builds ham radio stuff in the United States much anymore. I can't think of a whole lot of others that do.
Yep, I agree with you. All right. Well, look, I'm suspecting that Brett will be joining us in a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see things like the Ameritron line stay going, the Cushcraft and that line continue, the rotator lines, the high gain stuff continue, but I don't know. That's
they're and just maybe a final comment. People are talking about what about support? I mean, they may be afraid to buy stuff because who's going to support it? Well, some things are easier to support. You get you a manual tuner, anybody can support a manual tuner.
Yeah.
There's not that many parts in it. It's pretty straightforward. You get you a tube amplifier, the same thing, man. You got your tank circuit, you got your input circuit, you got your tube, and you got your power supply. Basically that's it. So there's things that, you can still support, but then you get into a lot of this pick and place, these little surface mount parts and stuff that's really concentrated. You may not be able to, service that. So,
right.
Yeah. All right. Hey, guys, we're going to be getting into in just a minute. Hey, I got a J-pole, a 6-meter J-pole I built. I told you I want to get on 6 meters. I'm going to show you that in a minute. We're going to talk a little about that. I've never really used a J-pole before on 6 meters, but I think it's going to be a good antenna. Well, we're going to look at measuring some coax, some what do you call coax when you don't have a manufacturer's name on it?
Generic.
Yeah, generic RG8X, because a lot of that RG8X that you buy don't have a name on it, man. It's just RG8X. We're going to talk about that in a minute, and we're going to see a video that I did about that in a minute. So let's we'll take a quick break here in just a minute. But first, let me remind everybody out there, thanks for listening on International Shortwave WBCQ 7490. Thanks for tuning in and watching Amateur Radio Roundtable here at W5KUB.com. Okay, we'll be back in just a minute. Don't go away. We're going to get into some deep stuff here in a minute, man. The IC705 and the IC7300 are the go-to rigs for outdoor hams who love POTA and SOTA activations. Both radios feature a large touchscreen with a real-time spectroscope and waterfall display for intuitive function and settings operation. The IC705 provides base station features and performs in the palm of your hand from HF to 50 MHz, 144, and even 440 MHz. Enjoy a variety of bands in the D-Star, DV, single sideband CW, or TTY, AM, and FM modes. This handheld also includes an RF direct sampling system, WLAN and Bluetooth connectivity, and internal GPS receiver. The IC7300 is an industry first to use the RF direct sampling system in an entry-level HF radio. This high-performance radio includes an audio scope, function, a class-leading RMDR and phase noise characteristics, 15 discrete band filters, and a built-in automatic antenna tuner. This compact and innovative radio will far exceed your expectations. The real HF fun starts here. For more information on Icom radios and locate a dealer, please visit icomamerica.com/amateur. The IC705 and the IC7300. All right, we're back, and I want to talk a little about. I mentioned earlier in the show today I wanted to get on try some 6 meters. Now, 55 years ago, boy, I was big into 6 meters. There was AM back then. I was 16 years old and just had recently got my license. And 6 meter AM from down here in this area, I could talk anywhere in New York or anywhere in the country. Man, it was, 100 watts, 6 meter AM was something. 6 meters is called the magic band. Those of you that work 6 meters know that it is the magic band. It kind of shares what VHF has, and also what HF has, because it's kind of in the middle. The thing about 6 meters though is it don't take much. I don't know why, man. It must be just a sweet spot there, because you can run 5 watts and you can have a clothes hanger stuck in the back of the radio and you can talk to New York on it. I mean, it's just that magic. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why they call it the magic band. When 6 opens, it's
Yeah.
open. I mean, low power. It's got low atmospheric noise.
Yeah.
I've got a 6 meter beam up, and that's one of my favorite bands. Is when you get the tropospheric openings on 6, and you work one end of the country. There was one night, probably about, about 12 years ago. Tim Billingsley and I, was KD5 CKP. We actually tracked an east to west opening. And literally, you could just literally track this opening as it's moving across the country.
Yep.
And it was just absolutely so much fun.
So I'm wanting to try some 6 meters just to get in contact with and talk to some different people. I'm not too hooked up with any of the Memphis groups here. I don't know a lot of them. I guess I'm pretty well kind of stuck up. I don't associate with them except that this guy right here. I associate with him sometimes, but sometimes it gives me a problem.
But I can only handle him in small doses.
That's right. That's right. So I've never used my HF rig like on 6 meters. Like the 7610 I've got. I tried it the other day, where I have to put it on split, and I tune in the receive frequency. And then I tune in on the other side. I tune in the transmit frequency, either plus or minus the offset.
Okay, so you're going through a 6 meter repeater.
Yeah, I'm trying. I will do anything, but since they have a 6 meter repeater down at Corinth, I wanted to try that. And of course, I don't have a 6 meter beam or anything up. I'm gonna be getting a 6 meter antenna out there up that hopefully will work now. So, I looked up the repeaters here, and they have a 1 meg offset. Some repeaters have a 1.7 meg offset. Some of them only have 500 kilohertz offset. Different cities, they use different offsets for 6 meters. I don't know why. I thought it would be.
I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
I thought it'd be more standard. It looks like Memphis, most all of them are -1. So the receive frequency is going to be up in the 53 megs, and the transmit frequency is going to be down in the 52 meg area. And of course, you got to put the tone. The tone in Memphis is 107.2. Now, Glenn, you know where I live, and you know where Clark Tower is, or the Hilton down here,
right
there at 240. There's a 6 meter repeater there. That's not that far.
Huh,
and you would think
I could hit that.
You would think I could hit that here from my house here. I would think if I had 6 meters, 2 meters they hit a repeater there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm thinking if I've got 6 meters even in the car, I should be able to hit that repeater. But I cannot hit it with my 7600 here in the house. Now let's talk antenna. Let's talk antenna right now. So what I've got out there right now, I've just got a copper J-pole sitting outside about 8 feet high, but it's still hard to work that repeater. My goodness, that J-pole is like 12 feet tall. And
well, the question is now, you've got your horizontal or vertical polarization.
Well, that's true, but most repeaters are vertical polarized.
Yeah, you'd think so.
FM's going to be probably vertical polarized, or sideband is going to be horizontal. But anyway, I can't key it. You'd think you'd key it up, at least it'd be noisy. I can't key it up. There's 2 other repeaters here. I cannot hit them. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I got a problem. I don't know if I got a problem with my 7610 or not. I guess I need to try another radio here. But anyway, let's talk.
The question is, are they on the air?
Well, yeah, they're active. They're supposed to be, yeah.
That would be
I got a report. I got a report they're active, or at least
then
one of them.
You ought to go out in your car and try it with your car.
Well, I don't have 6 meters in the car.
Ah, okay.
That'd be hard to do. I probably wouldn't make contact.
I do. I've got 6 in the car, and I've got an antenna, so I'll have to try it.
All right. So let's talk about. I need to put an antenna up, and what I've got out back, up at about 30 feet, it's 2 quads at 90 degrees from each other. It's called a turnstile, 6-meter turnstile. And there was an article in QST to build that with a piece of little phasing harness, coax and stuff. I built that. So I had that up out there. I'm not going to use that, but and that's supposed to make it omnidirectional, actually. So anyway, I went out into my storage building and I pulled down I've got an MFJ tri-band antenna out there, a fiberglass antenna that's got 6 meters on it, 2, 6, and 440. It's supposed to have about 2 dB gain on 6. I didn't particularly like it, so I pulled down. I had a copper J-pole that I built years ago, sticking in the attic out there. I pulled that down, and I'm going to try that. I got some pictures of that, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. And I think it ought to be a pretty good antenna. Not going to see much here, but I've got it outside there sitting on a couple of milk cartons right there, where I was actually trying to measure the SWR, or the impedance of the antenna. So you see it's built out of like 1/2-inch copper pipe right there. It's a J-pole again. There's a further picture. That thing is tall. I've got the very top up there leaning against a tree limb just to hold it up. But that antenna is about 12 or 13 feet tall.
Yeah.
One year,
one of the club members built a 6-meter J-pole for our Christmas party as a Dirty Santa gift. And let me tell you what, that antenna was the most fought over gift that year.
Let me tell you, that's got a lot of capture area to it, man. That should be a good antenna. Here's a picture, of course, the match. And what a J-pole is it's actually a half-wave antenna above a quarter-wave matching stub, is basically what it is. And the matching stub there is shorted at the bottom, so you can see the quarter wave is shorted across the bottom. And then you pick off the coax connections there at about 5 or 6 inches above the bottom there to find your best match. And I got a pretty good match on it. I'll show you what the match looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the match right there. It's
That's
showing,
not bad at all.
It's showing like 1 to 1 there. I had a 1.0 on it when I first tuned it in right there. So
yeah, no, that's very nice match.
That's a pretty good match. So a little close up on how you hook the coax. You just hook the coax directly to each side there. Some people actually mount an SO239 and solder it right to the pipe, and then run a straight wire across to the other side. But that's not as easy to adjust up and down once you solder it on there. So you got to kind of know where you want to put it. Again, there's just how I connect one of the sides. Just put it under a hose clamp, and
simple way to do it.
Yeah, simple way to do it. That copper had tarnished. You see, I kind of sanded it off here a little bit, but the copper had tarnished, but that shouldn't affect it.
No,
so as you can see about, let's see. I don't know if you can see it here or not. You can't. If you look about 3 or 4 feet up on there, you'll see a bar that goes across between the two. And basically, that's just that's a piece of wood. You could use a piece of PVC pipe here. You could use anything you want to, but
just a stabilizer.
That's a piece of wood like a broom handle. Just cut a little notch in both ends there to fit the pipe. I actually painted that wood, and actually that's heat shrink over that wood, heat shrunk down on it, to kind of make it last longer. And then just a wood screw in each side to hold it here. And it makes it really it makes it really stable there. Okay, let's see.
Well, I've got 3 6-meter antennas here. I've got the cobweb, I've got the 3-element beam, and then I've got a gap challenger vertical. So
Yeah.
I've got both polarizations covered.
Yeah. Now, if you want to build a J-pole like that, and that J-pole ought to work fine.
I really would. I'd like to
that
have
ought to
one
work
of
good.
those.
There's a lot of capture area on that antenna. It's a half wave over a quarter wave. And Glenn, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up out there where I had the GMRS antenna. So I'm just gonna tie my rope on it. J-pole. I'm gonna pull it up about 70 feet in the air.
Well, where you are, you should be able to hit that Clark Tower without.
I know it. With it on the ground, I should be able to. I think you would hit it from the car on the ground.
Yeah.
So I think something's wrong. Man, my 7610, I've never used it on 6 meters, but it shows output when I key up.
Well, I've got a Yaesu 857 in the car with a 6-meter antenna. If I get some time, I'll go out and see if I can't hit it from here, because we're pretty much equidistant from that Clark Tower.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna pull that antenna. I'm gonna pull that J-pole up about 70 feet in the air, bring it in here, and it's omnidirectional. It ought to work pretty good here. Now, whether it'll hit a repeater 90 miles away or not, I don't know. I think the 7610 runs the power. It's a 100-watt rig, but the power may be less on 6 meters. It may be 50. I don't know for sure.
But anyway, I don't think they derated on 6. It's a 2
right?
and 440.
Okay. Of course, the 7610 doesn't have 2 or 440.
Right. I'm going to say that the 6 meter should be the same.
And it might be. It might be. So I would think at that J-pole at 70 feet and 100 watts, I think I could maybe work.
There's no reason you shouldn't be able to hit Clark Tower. I mean, come on, that's just.
Yeah. In fact,
that's a 10-mile high.
In fact, I just see K5WHB. He just quit, but that's Harold. He's down in Corinth, and he's one of the guys that I'm wanting to set this up to try to talk to down here. So I know there he is. He's back.
Yeah, he jumped back
he's
in.
back. I see Harold there. Harold, I'm trying to get me a 6-meter antenna up in the air where I can work you guys down in Corinth. I want to become part of your group down there. Nobody will have me in Memphis, so I want to become part of your group down there in Corinth, Mississippi. So I'm working on it. So anyway, so that's my story about the antenna, and I'm sticking with it. All right, hey, let's talk about coax and loss, because I'm gonna need some low loss coax to go with my 6-meter antenna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I gave my friend Rick back the hard line. You know, he gave me hard line to run up to the GMRS antenna, so I gave him the hard line back. I didn't think I'd want to keep it out there. So I thought I'd run something like LMR 400 up there to it. And let me tell you, LMR 400 is pretty good cable. It's really good cable. It's not that much far off from, a 1/2-inch hard line, to tell you the truth. It might be a 1/2 dB or 3/4 dB or something like that. But
yeah, I got a little snobby probably about 8 years ago, and I bought myself 2 spools of 500 feet of LMR 400.
Yeah.
And every antenna run I've got at this place, HF and VHF, UHF, is LMR 400.
Well, work, I have 4 runs of LMR 400 going out to my
And it's a noticeable
antenna.
difference at the higher frequencies.
I lucked out on some LMR 400. At work, we put in a satellite station on the roof of my building.
Ah, very cool.
I put data satellite stations in all through the Caribbean and different places, and we put one on our roof. They're off airways down there, and they sent us all the they sent us the dish and all the hardware and all the bolts and screws and everything. They sent us like 1,000-foot run, a big wooden spool of LMR 400. Yep. That's what we brought the satellite in with, and we didn't use but probably about 50 feet of that. So I got to bring the rest of that home. So I ran it underground out here and conduit to my antenna farm. Now,
it's a pain to put connectors on, but it's worth it.
Well, let me tell you something. And here's where I'm going with the story.
I broke your concentration.
I'm just not sure how to say this because I'm a cheapskate. No, I'm just, and I want to test something too. I ordered some KMB 400. Now what that is I guess a Chinese version of LMR 400. So you can think the quality control is probably not as good. But anyway, I was supposed to have it today. I didn't have it. I was going to take that 100-foot roll and test it on the show tonight with the spectrum analyzer, just like we're going to see the testing I did on the generic RG8X. And just to show you how good it is. Now, I was only going to look at loss per 100 feet at different frequencies. I wasn't going to look at power handling capability or UV light resistance or there's a lot of other things that go along with cables. But I figured it probably wouldn't be up more than a year or two out there anyway. And hey, if I could get some low loss cable, that's what I needed. And in fact, when you get down into 50 megahertz, your losses aren't that bad with like LMR 400 like they would be at 440 or 900 megs or I mean they're relatively easy to deal with. So what I did tonight and what we're going to see next is John said stay away from that stuff. Well, I'm going to try it out, John, see how it is. Hey, John, if it's no good, I will send it to, well, no, if it's no good, John probably wouldn't want it. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take, I was going to do the KMR 400 and the RG8X and run it through the spectrum analyzer and look at the specs and then look at what we actually measured and see how the specs and how that compares. So, and let me tell you, there are different charts out there, different charts. For instance, here's the KMR 400. And let's just pick something here real quick. Let's pick 450, 100 foot at 450, and it says 2.6, right? 2.6 dB loss. I'm write that down. That's at 450. 450, 100 foot, 2.6. Now that's the KMR. Now let's look at times microwave. I think this may be times microwave. Let's see. I had a times microwave somewhere. Well, let's look at another one. Let's look at this LMR 400.
This is times microwave.
Oh, this is? Okay, here's some LMR 400. And at 450, they say 2.7. 2.7 is what, and times microwave, I would classify that as a very, very, very good cable.
Yeah.
So 2.7. But if you look at this Chinese stuff that I got, it says, that's the wrong one. It says at 2.6. So it shows
that it's better.
Whatever 0.1 dB would be, it's
0.1
dB better. Okay, so if that's the case, and it just don't rot and fall apart out there, it might work okay for me. So let's do this. Let's look at what I only have tonight. I only have the RG8X. I want to show the RG8X tonight, and then maybe next week we will show the KMR 400 and compare it to LMR 400 specs.
Now, if you want to have some real fun, dig you up some original RG58. And the reason I say that, when I got into ham radio, I didn't know this stuff. And I was a member of a local 2-meter group as soon as I got my general license. And we were doing 2-meter RIDI, and I was running RG58 on 2 meters, about 50 feet.
Why not?
It's what we had.
Why not?
And
Hey,
but
hey,
when you
hey!
look
What
at
do you
that
what do you
stuff
think?
now,
What do you think you run mobile, man? You're going to run 15 foot of RG 58 in your
well,
car
yeah, I
to your
actually have
mobile
a few
antenna,
feet of RG 174.
and you're
So
going to do
yeah,
that. You're going to do that on even 450. So hey,
yeah,
it's the length, it's the frequency, and one
yeah,
thing gets me, well, and I mean, yeah, I mean, I put LMR 400 in for my HF just because I had it for free. Okay,
exactly.
I had it for free, but let me tell you, we get new people on here. They get new people on here. Of course, most of them are techs, but let's say you upgrade to a general. It's like, I've got to have LMR 450. And if you want to work 80 meters, 40 meters, you don't need LMR 400.
No, you can use RG 58.
You can.
Use
And I tell you, I think
RG58.
the better solution would be the RG8X. It's still
Yes.
small, it's still cheap.
But
Let's,
back in the day, our choice was RG 58 or RG 8, and on
yep.
a teenager budget, RG 58 was all I had. I didn't know better. I made a lot of 2 meter contacts with my RG 58.
Oh, yeah, yep. Okay.
So,
All right, let's look at this video out here. Now, this is a comparison of the 100-foot RG8X. We're looking at it on a spectrum analyzer, and I'm comparing it to the spec sheet that was on the internet. Now, I found on the internet some of these spec sheets vary one company to the other. They vary a half a dB or so. They're not all the same. In fact, RG8X, I don't even think had specs until a few years ago. It was a pretty much
well, we
generic.
didn't have RG8X,
No, we didn't have it.
back in the day.
All right, so let's see if we can look at this video here real quick. Okay, here we go.
And this is 100 feet of
This is going to be
RG8X.
100 feet of RG8X.
Okay.
So I'm always looking for ways to use my new spectrum analyzer. I just love this little spectrum analyzer. You can do so much with it. But today I'm going to measure the loss in 100 feet of RG8X. Now RG8X, a lot of people make this. I don't think there's any real standard or specs on it, but people are starting to post some specs now on the internet. So we're going to look at the specs that are posted for this cable. And we're going to look at it from a frequency of 0 hertz all the way up to 1 gigahertz. We're going to see how it performs in comparison with their spec sheet. So what we're going to basically do, we're going to take the tracking generator, put a 0 dB signal, 0 dBm signal out, and we're going to take it through 100 feet of coax, put it back in the analyzer, and then we're going to be able to look at it here. So again, we'll be coming out the tracking generator, 0 to 1 gig. We'll be going back in the analyzer itself. Let's look at the analyzer. I've got the, let's turn the tracking generator. Tracking generator is on. I've got it set to 0 dB. So if we just take a patch cable and we patch the input and the output together, I'll just do it like that. There we go. You can see the LI now is our signal. This is 0 hertz, and that's about 1.5 gigahertz there. The 0 dB line is our reference there. That's the signal we're putting out, 0 dB, and we're going to be able to see how closely it follows that line per frequency. So let's hook the cable up and see what it looks like. So you can see coming out the generator, going through 100 feet of RG8X, back into the spectrum analyzer. Now let's look at this. Gee. Okay. It's going to be interesting to see the frequency response and the loss here. So I'm going to turn my peak on, my marker on. And let's see, is marker's on. Yeah, okay. You can see the little one right there. That's the marker. And as I tune the marker, it changes frequency. So let's go to zero. Let's go to zero frequency. So there's zero frequency, 0 hertz. Let's go to, well, it looks like at let's go to 2.5. At 2.5 megahertz, we've got about well, less than 1 dB loss. Let's go up to 10. Let's go up to 10. Oh, and you can see as the frequency increases, we're getting more and more and more attenuation here. So let's just go to 10. Let's put the marker on 10. Okay, it says at 10, we're at 10 right now, at 10 megahertz. We have about a minus 1.25 dB loss at 10. 1.25. Okay. Now I've made a chart up here where I'm going to try to record this. When the RG at 10, the specs say 0.5 dB loss. I'm seeing about 1.28. Okay, I'll stop for just a second, check my calibration. Looks like we're okay. We're at 10 megahertz. We're showing about 0.9 dB loss at 10.
Now, is there a connector loss?
Showing about 9.5.
Well, there may be a little bit.
9.5 at 10. The specs say at 10 we should have about 1, and we're showing about 0.94. So that's pretty close. That's pretty close. Let's turn it up to 50. Let's see what happens at 50. So I'm going to take the marker. I'm going to move the marker here to 50. And you can see we're tuning the frequency here. There's 40, 42. All right, there's 50. At 50, we're showing 2.18 dB loss. 2.18. Here, 2.18. 2.18. The specs show about 2.5 loss, so that's still within specs. That looks good. Let's go up to 144. 144 megahertz. All right, there's 142. At 145, we had minus 4.12. At 145, we have a minus 4.12. 4.12 dB loss.
It's really not bad for
our
RG8X.
Say it should be about 4.7, so we're under the specs here. Let's go to 200. Let's go to 200 and see what it looks like. There's 200. At 200, we're showing 4.94 dB loss. 4.94. 4.94. The spec sheet said Expect about 6 dB loss. That's under. Let's go to 450. Let's go to 450. Or at 450, we're seeing a minus 9.14. Minus 914. Minus 914. Okay, the spec sheet say RG8X should be about 8.6. We're seeing a little bit more than that now. We're seeing over 9 dB loss. Let's go to 700. Let's go way up here to 700 megahertz. You can see the dB loss is becoming much more. This is our 0 dB up here. And you can see that it's dropping off. We're getting a lot of attenuation. So we're going to go to 700. We're at 5. There's 700. 700, we got a minus 17.7. Minus 17.7. The spec sheets show about a minus 11 for RG8X. Minus 17, that's quite a bit of difference. Let's go to 900. We'll go up to 900 megahertz. Or at 900, we're seeing a minus 30.3. Minus 30.3, wow. That's way off from the specs of 12. And at 1 gig, they're saying it should be about 13.5. I don't believe that. I know it's not right. At 1 gig, so let's go up to 1 gig and look. All right, there's 1 gig there. We're at a minus 37. Minus 37. So I would say that according to the specs, and just according to our measurements here, RG8X is probably pretty good up until about, well, at least in the HF bands is good. The HF bands is good. It still meets the specs at about 144. That's not bad. 200. It meets specs. At 450, it's a little off specs. It starts dropping off. It starts dropping off about 450. The specs just go crazy. So I would say that the RG8X specs don't show in reality what the loss is on that cable. Now, there are a lot of different manufacturers of RG8X, so it's going to vary some. And also, if you look on the internet and you do find some attenuation tables on the internet, you're going to find that they all vary maybe a half a dB from chart to chart. All right, so it didn't look real good toward the end. I want to double check a couple of those last numbers there. The spec sheet seems awful good to me. Let me...
Well, I've got a couple questions about that.
Yeah.
You have that in a coil.
Yeah.
And I have made RF chokes with coils of coax. So I'm wondering if you're getting a choking effect by having it in such a tightly wound bundle. And maybe if you stretch that out down the hall and loop it back so you didn't have any coupling, if you'd get a different value on that attenuation.
Well, hard to say. Of course,
that'd be a quick test.
Of course, a choke at 1 gig would only have maybe a couple turns, whereas that had, you know,
you had 100 feet worth of turns.
Yeah,
so.
you had 100 feet worth of turns, so it probably wouldn't be a real good inductor for high frequency. But you're right. We might could.
You don't know.
So let me see. 100 foot here. This says at 900. It should. Is that right? No, that's KMR4. That's the wrong one. I want to look at the. I want to look at RG8X here.
That's not it either.
Well, that's RG8X right there.
Oh, okay.
So they're saying at 1 gig. Well, it don't even show 1 gig, but They're showing it
900
900. They're
meg.
showing it 900, 8.8 at 900, 8.8 at 900, and I had listed 8.8 at 900. Let's look at another chart. Somebody else will have a better.
Yeah. When you do that LMR 400, make it a non-coiled loop, just run it down the hall into the kitchen and back or something.
It's funny. Look at there. They don't even show it at 1 gig RG8X. They don't even show the number there.
But they've got it at 2400.
Yeah. So that's not very good. That's not helping me out a whole lot. Let's see.
No.
That one showed about 8 for 900. 8 and 9 would be about 10 probably.
Yeah.
I had looked it up and it showed about 12.
I would want to uncoil it and repeat that high-end stuff.
You want me to roll it down my hallway and all the way through my house and back? Is that what you want me to do?
That's what I'm saying. That way you got no inductive coupling.
Yeah. So anyway, it looks like it was fairly close. RG8X was fairly close.
It was good up to 142.
Now, when we say good, it was close to the specs. That don't necessarily.
It was acceptable up to 200 meg.
Yeah. So, and again, if we bought that from a different manufacturer, it might have tested a little different. I don't think there's any real standard on. I don't think you got the quality or the quality control, the standards on the RG8X.
I think the biggest thing is your shield, tightness of the shield braid, and of course the external jacket, protective UV, etc.
Yeah.
But one thing to consider about RG8X versus that 400 is the flexibility. That RG8X, you're able to wrap it in that tight little roll.
Yeah.
Try that with LMR 400. that ain't happening.
Yeah.
They call it, that Berry Flex or whatever on the LMR 400 or the LKR 400, whatever. That stuff doesn't like a tight turning radius at all.
Yeah. Let's see. I was going to. Oh, I know what I got to do. I'm going to pull up the spec sheet on that KMR 400. Let me pull it up real quick and let's take a quick look at it. Oh boy, well, they're probably going to want to do two authentication here, and I don't have time to do that right now. Anyway,
the only thing, the 400.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like that I noticed that and their pictures look really good on the KMR 400. Now, I tell you, I know it's a far less superior cable, but it may get the job done that I'm wanting to do. But I did notice the center conductor, solid center conductor. I think it was an aluminum center conductor, copper clad. Now, that kind of bothers me. You could solder a connector on it. It's copper clad, so the outer surface of that interconductor is copper clad, but it's aluminum.
Well, you've also, as you get up in those higher frequencies, though, you've got that skin effect, so that aluminum is not going to have as much of an effect.
Well, that may be true. Yeah.
I
was thinking more for soldering, and you sure can't solder to aluminum. That's for sure, man.
No, but I'm talking about the actual signal. It's going to be traveling on the outer skin of that conductor.
All right, well, guys,
so it's going to be in the copper.
I was going to also show you the KMR 400, how it measures too, and maybe we'll do that next week.
Now Mark P has an interesting statement there that cable TV has better signals in the winter than in the summer. There's lower loss when it's cold.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, wasn't it? You would think as the electrons got cold, they would,
slow down and whatnot.
Slow down,
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, look, hey,
wanna-
we are at the 9:30 mark. We're off. We're signing off for shortwave right now. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We're gonna go ahead and get off here, and we'll see you next week. And then just a couple days after that, Glenn hits the road. He's heading to Hamvention. And hey, guys, we're still looking for volunteers. If you can help us, just 15 minutes, one morning or afternoon or both, to take your camera, your phone, and walk around and send us back some video. We're going to live stream that on Saturday. So if you can help, please send me a note. Let me know that you're volunteering to help us out a little bit. 73 is everybody. Good night, and we'll see you next week.
Good night.